Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. You are watching HumSub.TV and I am Muneeb Hamid with the news in English.
Supreme Court takes suo motu notice of delay in accountability judges' reappointment. The Supreme Court has taken suo motu notice of the delay in reappointment of an accountability court judge who is hearing the Panama Gate case against Sharif family. A three-member bench headed by Chief Justice of Pakistan Mia Saqib Nisar heard on Wednesday an application pertaining to extension in tenure of Accountability Court Judge Muhammad Bashir. Justice Nisar observed that Islamabad High Court had already recommended Bashir's appointment, but the government was yet to take action. The top court summoned Law Secretary to report progress made in the reappointment. The Chief Justice of Pakistan Mia Saqib Nisar refused to accept a verbal apology from News One anchor person Dr. Shahid Masood for his startling allegations against the accused in the rape and murder of 6-year-old Zainab in Kasur. Masood in his show had alleged that Zainab's suspected rapist and murderer was a member of a pornography gang which also includes a Punjab minister. The court told Dr. Masood that it was too late now to apologize after a joint investigation team probing his allegations revealed that his claims were false and baseless. Dr. Masood's counsel said that his client was prepared to do whatever the court asked of him. Following this, the anchor person verbally apologized twice, but the court refused to accept his apologies. Some people had suggested you should apologize. In earlier hearing in Lahore, the CJP said the time for an apology has now passed. It's all right if you still want to contest the case. The CJP said that justice shall be seen to be done in the case in soft reply from Channel News 1 adjourning hearing until March 12th. An accountability court allowed former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif to leave the court on Wednesday after being told he was unwell. The court was hearing the flagship investment and Al Azizia Means References cases against the Sharif family. During the hearing, Nawaz and Mariam appeared before the court, but their counsel, Khwaja Hari, said his client Nawaz was unwell and requested he be excused. On hearing this, the court excused Nawaz from appearing before the court. The court had summoned the prosecution's witnesses to record their statements. 3 witnesses were unable to record their statements in the last hearing. Supreme Court gives NAB 2 more months to wrap up Sharif corruption references. The Supreme Court on Wednesday extended by 2 months the deadline given to the Accountability Court hearing corruption references against former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif and his family. In its July 28, 2017 ruling in the Panama Papers case, the Apex Court had given the National Accountability Bureau 6 months to complete its proceedings on the corruption references against members of the Sharif family. Acting on the Apex Court's order, NAB had initially filed 4 references against the Sharif and former Finance Minister Ishaq Dar. 3 of the references were against the Sharif family, which includes Nawaz Sharif, his children Hassan, Hussain and Mariam, and his son-in-law Captain Safdar in connection with 16 offshore companies, Azizia Steel Mill, Hill Metal Establishment and the Evanfield Flats in London. Since Chief Minister Syed Murad Ali Shah expanded his cabinet by inducting Pakistan People's Party MPA from Karachi Syed Ghani as a minister. He was administered the oath by acting Governor Agha Siraj Durrani at a ceremony held in Governor House. He was given the portfolio of planning and development, which fell vacant with the death of Mir Hazar Khan Bijjarani. Syed Ghani is the son of the eminent Labour leader Usman Ghani and a senior PPP leader. He was early elected as a senator and appointed as advisor to the Chief Minister for Labour. Later, he contested by-election on PS 114 and won it. Strikes hit battered Ghouta as death toll hits 800. Heavy airstrikes and clashes shook the Syrian rebel enclave of Eastern Ghouta on Tuesday as France and Britain called for an emergency UN Security Council meeting on the escalating violence. 800 civilians, including at least 177 children, have been killed since Russia-backed regime forces launched an assault on the besieged enclave outside Damascus on February 18th. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said in its latest death toll. Bombardment and clashes in eastern Ghouta, the last major rebel stronghold near Damascus, have persisted despite a month-long ceasefire demanded by the Security Council more than a week ago. At least 19 civilians were killed on Tuesday. The relentless attacks prompted France and Britain to request an emergency meeting of the top UN body, expected to gather on Wednesday to discuss the ceasefire's failure to take hold. Government troops have advanced rapidly across farmland in eastern Ghouta in the past week and had wrestled control of 40% of the enclave as of early Tuesday. North Korea and South Korea to hold summit. North Korea ready for denuclearization talks. The leaders of the North and South Korea will hold a historic summit in the demilitarized zone next month after Pyongyang expressed willingness to give up its nuclear weapons in exchange for security guarantees, Seoul said on Tuesday. The North is open to frank talks with the United States on denuclearization and would suspend missile and nuclear tests while dialogue was underway. The South's National Security Advisor Chung So-yong said after returning from a meeting in Pyongyang with leader Kim Jong-un, U.S. President Donald Trump gave a cautious welcome to the announcement. 39 killed in Russian plane crash in Syria. Russian transport plane crashed on landing at an airbase in Syria on Tuesday. The defense ministry said killing all 39 people on board in one of the deadliest incidents since Moscow's intervention in the country's war. The ministry said the 33 passengers and 6 crew members were all military personnel in a statement carried by news agencies, revising up an earlier toll of 32. The reason for the crash, according to preliminary information, could have been a technical fault, the ministry said, adding that the planes had not come under fire according to a report from the ground. The transporter was around 500 meters from the runway at the Hmeimim air base in western Syria, according to the defense ministry. President Vladimir Putin expressed deep condolences to the families and loved ones of those killed in the plane crash and also to all the military over the loss of their comrades. Putin, who is on a trip in the Urals region, spoke to Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu on the phone about the accident, according to the Kremlin. Ex-Russian spy critically ill in UK after mysterious exposure. An ex-Russian spy became critically ill after coming into contact with an unknown substance in southern England, prompting Britain that it would respond appropriately and robustly if Russia's involvement is established in the case. UK Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson told lawmakers on Tuesday in the White House Commons that he wasn't pointing fingers as to who might be responsible for the collapse of Sergei Skripal, who was found slumped on a bench together with his daughter Yulia on Sunday. But he stressed that if the state involvement was proven, Britain would take action. Trump economic advisor Khan quits after tariffs dispute. Gary Khan, the top economic advisor to U.S. President Donald Trump in the White House, said on Tuesday he would resign, a move that came after he lost a fight over Trump's plans for hefty steel and aluminium import tariffs. The departure of Khan, the National Economic Council director, expected to be finalized in a few weeks, will blow a hole in Trump's advisory team at a time when the economy is growing but stock markets are experiencing surges of volatility. Trump said in a tweet on Tuesday night he will be making a decision soon on replacing Khan. Administration officials and Peter Navarro, who is director of the White House National Trade Council, and conservative commentator Larry Kudlow was the top 2 candidates for the job. Germany alarmed after resignation of Trump's economic advisor. German government has grave concerns about the resignation of U.S. President Donald Trump's top economic advisor. Economy Minister Brigitte Priest said on Wednesday, adding that she hoped that Trump would change his mind on import tariffs. The situation is serious, Priest said about Trump's decision to impose import tariffs on metals and the departure of Gary Khan, who was seen as a moderating voice in the White House. She said the European Union would respond in an appropriate manner if the U.S. imposed tariffs on steel and aluminium, but added that Berlin wanted to avoid a trade conflict. Qatar would not be barred from Arab summit, says Saudi Crown Prince. Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince says Qatar will not be barred from an Arab summit in Riyadh later this month, but predicted the standoff with Doha could last a long time. Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain and Egypt cut ties with Qatar in June, accusing the tiny but super-rich Gulf state of supporting militant groups and forging close ties with Iran. The prince described Iran, Turkey and militant groups as the contemporary triangle of evil. He said Saudi Arabia was seeking to end the close relations between Iran on the one hand and Russia and Syria on the other. And now some entertainment news. Despite ban, Bollywood still wants Fawad Khan. Indian National Award-winning filmmaker Shonali Bhose says though she wishes to cast Pakistani actor Fawad Khan, she couldn't do it in the Phase 4 call for a ban on Pakistani actors. According to her, such things should be stopped. The filmmaker was part of a panel discussion called Controlling Creativity is Censorship Relevant alongside veteran Indian filmmaker Shyam Benegal at the FICC Frames 2018 on Tuesday. And now some business news. International Monetary Fund calls for greater political consensus on key reforms. The International Monetary Fund has advised Pakistan to have a broader political consensus on critical structural reforms to address economic challenges in taxation, energy and public sector enterprises. Economic future of Pakistan is the collective responsibility of all political parties, said a senior official close to the IMF, as Ms. Teresa Dayban replaced Tohikr Mizoyev as resident representative of the fund in Islamabad. The official said finding a broad political consensus will be critical for the success of structural reforms in the country, and separating politics from key components of economic agenda remained a challenge. This was evident from obstacles to reform in the energy, taxation and public sector enterprises emerging from lack of political consensus. And now some sports news. Multan Sultans go 2 points clear at the top with 19-run win over Peshawar Zalmi. An unbeaten 42-ball, 85-run innings by Sohaib Maqsood helped Multan Sultans defeat defending champions Peshawar Zalmi in the 16th fixture of the Pakistan Super League 2018 at the Dubai International Cricket Stadium on Tuesday. The Sultans, after being asked to bat first, sent the usual pairing of Ahmad Shehzad and Kumar Sangakkara to open their innings, whereas Samin Gul and Umaid Asif shared the new ball for the Zalmi. Early on, the classy Sri Lankan took the backseat in favour of his young partner, but came alive in the fourth over, hitting Hassan Ali for a 6 and a 4. And now the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Mainly dry weather is expected in most plain areas and cold in upper parts of the country. However, light rain, thunderstorm with gusty winds is expected at isolated places in Quetta, Zob divisions and Upper Fatah.
And that is the end of the news. For more news and updates, keep watching HumSub.TV. Please subscribe to HumSub.TV and hit the notification icon on the screen to get the latest updates of our channel. Thank you for watching HumSub.TV.